But the draft does end up popping up. We are going to be getting into it here. Edrenaline is going to be the ones who actually have first pick here, and they're going to go instantly into a Kael'thas ban. Keep in mind, everybody tuning into this draft, actually, the Worgen changes onto Greymane have taken in effect, and also Murden as well. The Avatar nerf is now into effect, so will we see a huge change in the drafting? I expect here, at least, Shane.
As far as warriors go, with Murden being as less of an impactful warrior, obviously due to that aforementioned change, I feel like that Johanna is pretty much just going to fall in line, is now being picked up more often. Obviously, it's after Murden, it's pretty much been ETC and Johanna as the big tanky one. Stitches has made a little bit of a comeback in the European scene, it hasn't gained as much traction here in North America yet. But I feel like that Johanna is pretty much just going to be the fallback one when it comes to picking up the next warrior, now that Murden's kind of been knocked down to the bottom of the totem pole.
Right out the gates, we see Lunara ban. This is 100% confirmed. The Lunara changes actually haven't come into play here with this latest patch, correct?
That is correct. Don't forget. So something that kind of happened without many people knowing is this drafting tool now. See how it's grayed out and the time is still ticking?
Oh,
actually,
they're hovering?
What you're seeing, yeah.
Okay.
It's a highlight of what they're hovering on. So they're probably trolling us right now.
Okay, they're trolling.
The draft is broken,
it worked.
But
I mean, I fell for it. I didn't know that they actually implemented that change with Heroes Draft. I was like, well, I mean, I haven't seen enough argument on why Lunar is good. I mean, one Korean pick I didn't think was enough, but maybe here at the Amateur Series. Time pool, everything else is broken. It does look like they lock it in. I think we might be seeing a broken draft here, though. Can you see? Okay.
Judging by the fact that both the time pools
went all the way down.
Yeah, I think that would be an accurate statement. I believe chat is calling me soft.
Okay.
I think they mean my volume.
Yeah, I'll get you up a little bit here.
Okay. I've been called many things in my life, and I've been called soft. I've been called soft before. That's nothing new to me.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that gets you a little bit better. I apologize for that, guys. But Rexar with that beautiful pick. This is obviously the trollest chat in the world. I'm no longer going to be even covering this.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Do we have a new link?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hook me up? All right.
Oh, my man.
Oh, man. Although I would have liked that meta-breaking Rexar first pick. It's not even the Lunara ban. I think I'm more impressed by the Rexar first pick than I am by a Lunara ban. Oh, man. That pocket cheese strat here.
All about
Can you send it in-game rather than over Skype?
Oh, copy that.
Lost Vikings is the response. Man, just flawless play there overall. All right.
So the battleground is still going to be Sky Temple.
Okay.
And now Edrenaline banned out the Zagara. I think that's a little bit more of a smart ban there.
Yeah.
And casual tryhards are now waiting to do their first ban. So there it is. That looks a little bit more. Yep. Okay. Now we're talking.
All right.
Now the Rhaegar pick.
No.
I'm
definitely.
sorry. The Rexar.
Yeah. Kael'thas being hovered here. With the Murden bans, I think that's a pretty smart pickup. Murden was the only other person who usually took that contestation point, and with the nerfs to him, I definitely feel like Kael'thas is the stronger pickup here. Traditionally, we've seen kind of like that Jaina response when it comes to the drafting. At this point, is really good counter mage. She obviously has great early, mid, and late game. She provides a decent amount of soft CC across the board. She's a great hero in almost every situation. So universally, a lot of teams do like to pick her up here, but they pair it with a Murden. And this Murden now with these nerfs, is Murden worth the first pick rotation for a second pick?
Right.
Personally, I don't think that he is necessarily in all comps. At least he does work in some. Rain are going to be hovered here, so everything that I have to say is obviously terrible decision making out the window. Morales locked in opening with Morales here. Oh man, and the Rainer.
Ooh, that's a little hubristic, I would say. Opening up. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rainer and Morales, man. They're great, but the insta-thrall pickup right here, I think, would be the way to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lieutenant Morales, her big Achilles heel is that she can be countered by hard initiation, and Thrall is pretty much the king of initiation. Now that Murden's no longer on the equation, it's pretty much Thrall's the main. If you want initiation, Thrall is your main go-to guy with that Sundering. ATC as well, but Thrall, you just hit that R button, you put a crack in the middle of the ground, and kind of just pick people off, man.
Yeah, no, and he pairs with a lot of heroes. Like, he honestly is probably the best engager in the game right now, especially on smaller maps where there are a little bit of chokeholds. I do think we can expect them to pick up their tank here. I think just getting more initiation and hard CC, as long as they provide that with how... It's not only that Morales likes to sit back, right? They picked Raynor as well. He loves to sit back as well. It's very much a composition that says, hey, guys, if you let this fight last longer than, like, 10 seconds and you don't kill anybody, we're going to win this fight, right? So I would...
Absolutely.
Like, the Adrenaline with the Uther pick is going to help Thrall get in there, try and get those early picks, and they damage everything else. Everything about Adrenaline's comp right now as a response to casual tryhards is very well done. I do like that draft. What I would like to see from casual tryhards is more bans around those hard engages, so anything that might be able to pair with it. If they have no intention of picking Jaina, they definitely, I think, should ban it. Actually, I don't know. With the Kilthos double mage, a little bit risky. But again, still, Jaina would not, like, at least depending on looking at the casual tryhards comp right now, would not be a bad pick for Adrenaline.
So with Lieutenant Morales, obviously you need a good front line to help protect that Morales. Even you can have the best position in the world as a support player, and teams are still going to be able to exploit that very, very easily. And actually, it is going to be a Diablo ban, so that kind of is going into the characteristic of we don't want to give them any more hard engage that they already have available to them. I was on the fence, either Diablo or ETC. Obviously, both of those are great at initiation, but I mean, I think casual tryhards, what warrior are they going to pick to help zone out further Morales? Obviously, ETC does a pretty good job at that. Murden used to be the premier one, but obviously we've talked about that ad nauseum. He's not going to be as big of a priority. And also Johanna, I think, would be the next follow-up as well. But look, Adrenaline hovering out of Johanna, I think they know that casual tryhards need a good warrior. They need someone to help zone out further Morales, and taking Johanna out of the equation would certainly help for their cause.
See, I feel like let's if Johanna is selected here as the ban, I feel like it doesn't take away, like, for instance, ETC is a great counter initiator when it comes to tanks. He has the opportunity to get the counter initiation that casual tryhards right now needs to be defending against. Obviously, they don't want to die in the early team fight with the Morales and the Raynor pick already. I feel like Johanna is another hero that's pretty bad at that counter initiation. She's very much a wave clear dependent tank. She doesn't do very much to stop that engage at all, except for one blessed shield, which isn't really that much. So I feel like letting their opponents have the Johanna and banning ETC, and this situation would be a little bit better. They can take almost any tank. There you go, the fall set. That's a beautiful, beautiful decision. One of the great tools that could be used here to disengage from fall set, or from Raynor and Morales, so that the combo doesn't come out just as good. It's a great counter to Cataclysm. I really like that ban. I feel like the Johanna one would have been probably one of the worst ones they could have done, in my opinion. Johanna is one of the worst tanks casual tryhards can take right now, because they have no chance of dictating and choosing a single team fight. Their comp right now is just very much, please choose your fight, and we're going to have a hard time.
Oh, no.
We're getting
the Rexar. Oh, damn it. Close.
Close.
I talked about it a little bit earlier how Stitches has gained a lot of traction in Europe, but not so much here in North America. We actually saw him today earlier in the Storm. And it was who was it? It was Cognitive that ran it. I think they ended up losing that match. I don't remember. Anyways, so we're starting to see a little bit more of the Ravager of Duskwood, man. I mean, obviously he's always had the hook, right? But his big problem is always that's all he is a walking hook. An easy way to counter that is you just hard initiate on the Stitches anytime like that happens. So I mean, that extra damage boost, man, has it really made him like a premier warrior now? Has it really brought him up to that top tier?
I don't think it pulls him the best as a solo tank for the most part. I do think it is definitely a step in the right direction in double tank style compositions. He feels kind of that bruiser utility esque role. I do like the rise of him, at least when it comes to the meta, but I do think he still is kind of that walking hook to some extent, especially when initiation is such a powerful thing in the current meta, right? So where we were talking about that hook, engage as hard as you possibly can when the hook comes out and force the fight, and Stitches is going to have a bad time, and that's what we kind of see with the ETC, the Uther, the Thrall. Everything about this composition is, okay, you got the Gorge, but what are you really going to do with it? Especially with no accented burst. I would expect a Jaina pick up here. Not only does it synergize with the Sonya, it also provides the absolutely desperate burst that casual tryhards needs right now if they're going to go with that hook style comp. But
they need follow-up. They need follow-up on that hook. I mean, that's why you get a Stitches. If you don't have follow-up for a hook, then Stitches isn't, I mean, pretty much is a non-factor when it comes to what you get him for. There's no point in getting him. So, yeah, I think Jaina would be great here. And another thing with Stitches, obviously, we talked about how Morales needs protection.
Yeah.
And obviously Putrid Bile is really good. It's really good at helping slow down and snare up the front line of ETC and Thrall. So that is a little bit of a tool that Stitches has. So I don't know if this is just maybe the thing bugged out, or if this is an actual legit Brightwing
No,
pick.
I think it's a legit Brightwing pick.
I was gonna say Brightwing is a hero that I've talked to a couple people about, one of your former teammates, and they actually think Brightwing is a kind of a up and coming rising hero in the meta. I know some teams have been trying her out in scrims recently.
Okay, so where do I the Brightwing pick is a synergy to Stitches, right? So it is the follow-up CC to the Stitches. She has better split pushing on a large map like this, and this is actually an old school kind of strategy. It hasn't been seen in a very, very long time, but Sky Temple's kind of what a lot of people at the time used to call the fish in the barrel map when it came to Stitches, because capping the shrine has to be done on such a tight location with very little things to get in the way to get a hook. And I feel like that's the idea here, is between Brightwing, Morales, and the split supporting there, maybe a Bile here. I don't know if Bile is totally going to be the go-to. It's going to be another peeling source for their team comp. And then between Brightwing, Morales, and everything else, all the CC, if the hook comes in, the polymorph for the CC, they have a decent amount of damage. I feel like if they do not get the hooks that they need, their comp still very much suffers for the casual tryhards. Yeah. It's very much, they have no way really, unless maybe it's a leap, to force the initiation in any team fight. And really, when it comes down to it, if Raynor has out of position at all, they lose almost every single one of their team fights. Brightwing will also be able to deal with the mosh. But overall, if you had to choose out of this draft, who do you feel like wins the game?
To be honest, I feel like it's about Adrenaline. They have a much more well-rounded draft. They can dictate the initiations of team fights. With Thrall, they have great early game presence and roaming with Kael'thas and ETC. Obviously, Gravity Lapse and this stun chain with Uther and ETC follow-up. Vala has been a main stable of the competitive scene for the better part of a year in one iteration, whether it's multi-shot, Hungry Arrow, or auto attack build. Multi-shot build seems to be the new kind of build coming out. Hungry Arrow build has fallen out of favor quite a bit. But nonetheless, she's always put out good damage numbers. Is just a consistent hero. Strafe does a lot. So I like Adrenaline's draft overall. What I like casual tryhards draft just because it's unique. Yeah. We haven't seen a Brightwing in a long time. And another thing I'm asking myself, are we going to see Emerald Wind or Blink Heal?
See, I actually was thinking that as well.
Yeah.
We are getting in here into game number 1 of the Divergent Gaming Amateur Tournament. This is going to be a game between Edrenaline, as we saw, and on the right-hand side, the name of this team is going to be the all capitalized casual tryhards here. Let me put in their name really quick.
You do your production thing. All right, guys. So again, this is the Divergent Gaming. Apologize about the delay, guys. Things like this happen when we have to utilize the third-party systems, but thank you very much for bearing with us. We're finally getting this game underway. So another question I'm asking, and I don't think this is the case, but it'll be interesting to see, is this going to be a full heal monk, or are we going to see some more damage-based oriented talents, considering the fact that there's already a strong healing support Lieutenant Morales? Do you think that's, maybe not necessarily viable, but approachable, do you think?
I think it'll be DPS, honestly. Yeah. I actually feel like they have enough healing in their composition. I can see him going a bruiser, like with just 7-sided with full healer. Yeah. Other than that, but also at the same time, I think a full DPS is the option that he has to go here. Stitch's talent at level 1 end up going for the stacking of the globes. Going to be interesting to see how well he's going to be able to stack those out. But in the blue trunks, we do have Adrenaline here. We have Kemet on the Kael'thas. Rosako is going to be on that Uther. Silent Fury on the Vala. King is going to be on that ETC, and Trash Rock going to be on the Thrall.
All right, guys, on the right starting map in red on the Lieutenant Morales, we're going to have Kajal on the Lieutenant Morales, Icy Mike, the iciest and coldest of Raynor players, Turman XO on the Kersey, Muffin Trader on the Stitches right there, and Lickon on the Sonya, and the good old Cheesin of the Towers down in the bottom lane. We see this frequently to get that little bit of an early game experience. But not only that, but obviously it translates well later into the match. It gives you a little bit more value on the structures.
The really late rotation here. Not only did they not get that front wall, but Meta getting caught out a little bit here. Very much out of rotation. They were slow to rotate. She gets taken down. Stitch's hook gonna get a decent pull. Every lane is losing XP now.
Yeah,
every single lane.
Be careful about this. This is pretty disastrous for them, man. They were able to get that tower in the bottom lane, but the rotation, despite it being slow, they overstayed their welcome. They got collapsed on, and now we see the teams are finally falling back to their respective lanes to soak up that precious early game experience. So even with that tower going down, already a discernible experience advantage, favoring the blue team 3 takedowns to 0 right now.
Yeah, and it's not even the fact that Casual TryHards not only failed, they made the smart decision to try and get that early cheese, right? They got a turret. They decided not to back out, but the interesting thing was, like, they backed out not only too late, but they also didn't send anybody to rotate to any of the other lanes. ETC about to get a gank here on the top lane.
Rainer.
Misses the Q.
Rainer's going to be... Yeah, Rainer's dead to rights. He just got absolutely disintegrated. Yeah. Easy rotation right there by the Rock God himself. Rainer not respecting the ETC, missing on the minimap. Put himself back, and he didn't go, of course. He's going with the more offensive utility, late game skill ability, talent level, and that seasoned marksman, as opposed to the give me more, the defensive utility. So even more so. Easy punish kill. Oh, a hook onto Vala. She vaults away. She should be all right. A big contention over this temple. Oh, man. Sonya gets absolutely destroyed. Stitches in some trouble. He gets gravity laps up, but the Lieutenant Morales doing a good job doing what Lieutenant Morales does. So much healing on the side of Casual TryHards right now between the Karazim and Lieutenant Morales, but she gets picked off. Overextension we talked about in the draft. The big weak point of Morales is she can get exploited with her positioning and her weakness. She got caught out in the open, gets taken down.
Yeah, and that fight was actually forced. Rainer did get picked up in the top lane, right before the shrine spawned, and that wasn't inconvenient here for the Casual TryHards. But the worst part about this situation was actually that fight was forced by Casual TryHards, and they didn't even have Rainer with them. That was essentially a 5 versus 4 fight, and they decided not to just trade shrines. They went out of their way to pick that fight in a 5 versus 4 situation, and it ends up punishing them there. A little bit of low health bars here, but an aggressive rotation. This is a beautiful pick. They're going to go down. Medic is going to end up trying to heal everybody up here. Sonya getting out.
Oh man, a hook on a Kel'Thas under the towers, but he's gonna get the protective shield keeping alive. Sonya does get hit by the flame strike and hit the fountains. The Lieutenant Morales is healing up nice and strong. So we're in the early stages of the match. Lieutenant Morales has very high raw output healing, but subsequently she also runs out of mana relatively quickly as well. So she can put out these big numbers, but she can only do it for so long. And despite the fact that they were down a level 4 talent tier right there, they went in on a team fight. Now they have level 4. They're even on that talent tier, but with the scaling changes, being down to level is very impactful. And oh man, we're gonna see Terminix. Karazim gets picked off. Stitches is next to go. Good follow-up gravity laps. Sonya's trying to do some damage with her whirlwind, but it ain't gonna happen. And now this temple should be in full control of the blue team here right now.
Yeah, not only the talent tiers being their advantage, but every fight being picked here, even staying around for this. ETC getting a great stun, the knockback on Sonya, Uther follow-up stun, gravity lapse is going to be another one going down. Medic barely surviving with the skin of her teeth, and every one of these team fights is a man disadvantage. Casual TryHards here losing one person and failing to accept the fact that they might be defeated at the map objective. This is setting them behind, not only from the level 1 rotation to try and get the map objective on the bottom keep wall or front wall and not managing to get it properly, but also losing what is it in total? I think it was 6 deaths there in that amount of time, just over the shrines, never being willing to trade, and this is setting them 2 levels behind. They're going to be a talent tier behind at this point. Even Merc control at this point is not going to help them turn this game around here, Shane.
Yeah. And that's generally kind of a fallback mechanism that teams do to try to get a little bit more map pressure, narrow that gap in the experiences of the mercenary camps. But I mean, we might actually see an aggressive invasion coming out here from Adrenaline. They have 2 levels up, level 7 talent tier, which is a very pivotal talent tier for almost every single one of these heroes right now. If they wanted to go with the aggressive route, they could maybe pick up the Siege Ogre camps. But oh man, Icy Mike's in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have his Adrenaline rush up. He's going to get taken off, and a big misplay coming out from the Rainer player. They're not respecting the Kel'Thas and gets punished for it.
Yeah, and I missed that. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But the night camp is going to be taken here by the Casual TryHards. The Giants camp being capped early here. Really well from them. The Knight's going to be taken as well, trying to get that split push. ETC in the mid lane with the 1v1 here. Both teams are going to end up trading the Night camp to push the top lane at roughly the exact same time. They are both going to be timed with the map objective. Whoever ends up clearing this camp first is going to gain a slight advantage. Here we see the delayed cap here. Beautiful play from Trash Talk and friends. Trying to wait it out, make sure they cap it directly when the bottom shrine spawns, which will be the next one spawning here on Sky Temple. It always goes mid and top, and then the next shrine always going to be 100% bottom. Smart play once again here from Adrenaline. They seem like they know what they're doing here.
Yep, it's just good discipline from them, having the patience to know when their advantages are there, when to take opportunity of those advantages, and that's exactly what they've done. So with the damage done in the bottom lane on those structures, that means that temple, assuming they get control of it, which they might not with level 7 on the board now for Casual TryHards. If they do get that temple in their control, it's going to be firing down on the fountain much earlier, on the fort much earlier, and follow up with that if they take a decisive team fight. Could be them getting that fort in the bottom lane. Hook on the Vala, not much follow up there. Yeah, they got to be careful. Again, this is a characteristic that Casual TryHards has had. They're taking this team fight. They were there, but the Lieutenant Morales wasn't there. Monk got way too aggressive, and now Sonya in poor position. She's trying to get back to her healer, trying to get out of there, but this is just a botched team fight right now for Casual TryHards. They're looking for a hook on ETC, not the ideal target, and they actually might turn this around. A huge power slide on Lieutenant Morales. She gets torn apart right there, and now Sonya in a lot of trouble. She gets tossed in the air by Kel'Thas, and all of a sudden, another 3 easy takedowns, going the way of Adrenaline, level 7 to level 10. And right now, man, Adrenaline is just in cruise controls.
Yeah, and you got to hand it to Adrenaline. I mean, the minute they realize every situation they have a numbers advantage, they absolutely capitalize as hard as they possibly can. Right there on bottom, they aggressively rotated to the shrine, so there was absolutely no escape for the 3 people on the shrine, knowing that they beat them and their opponents in rotation. Really smart play out of here. Again, the level 10 advantage is still looking to contest 3 versus 2. It's going to be a Pyro Blast coming out.
Boys.
Oh, man. The Stitches looks like he's not going to have much left here to survive. He's going to get taken out. The fort's going to fall here. And now we have a level 11 to level 8 fight here in favor of Adrenaline, and honestly, it just comes down to smart capitalization on manpower.
I mean, the whole time Icy Mike was pushing down middle lane to try to get something going for him, but now he's got to be careful. He's going to get rotated on. He's going to be going down. The Sundering actually being utilized. Here comes Morales, but she's just got to get out of there. Just sack the Rainer, make sure she doesn't get taken out too. She's going to be able to get away to the safety within the confines underneath that fort. But what they need to do right now, man, is stop taking these team fights down a man, get themselves a little more crisp on their rotations. Once they're actually up on those level 10 heroics, then they can get together, take an engagement if they want to. But right now, their main concern has to be getting that level 10 heroic as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah, and they definitely need to be making sure they don't sacrifice Soak in any of the 3 lanes. Experience is essentially the only thing keeping them from being able to take any of these team fights at this point. 10 being the most valuable talents here in the entire game. They need to give up this top fort. I would really like to see casual tryhards, there we go, trying to get a little bit of Soak in the mid lane, trying to catch up as best they can. It looks like they might take the risk of forcing this boss here. If Adrenaline doesn't realize that they're actually taking this boss, it might be a contention point. Mosh pit being taken, no stage dive, but this is risky. If they do response, Adrenaline, if they answer, which it doesn't look like they're going to, if they did, there's no chance this fight does not go in favor of Adrenaline.
I don't think they recognize what's going on. They're now starting to go down into the mid lane to clean up the fort. But yeah, the boss has been taken by him, so they have that, at least that going for him now. It's going to put some pressure in the bottom lane. The boss right now, early on, shouldn't be too huge of a threat. It's not like it's going to threaten those inner structures in the bottom lane, but it'll certainly damage down the fort and whatnot. And now, oh no, Sonya's in full retreat. Still no level 10 for casual. TRYHARDS a huge shutter on Sonya. She's out of position. She's going to be taken out right there. Any little bit of follow-up, there's the chain lightning to take her out. And now Karazim's in some trouble, but can he dash away to the Morales? He's going to be able to get away to safety. And now with that, with no Sonya, Sonya's a very important hero in this draft that they have. A big damage dealer, big initiator. These inner structures are going to be under siege, and this early on, losing these tier 2 towers, these are a big amount of experience going the way of Adrenaline, Dreadnaught.
No, that was absolutely what they needed to do to try and make a comeback in this game. Granted, they did get a little bit picked there with the Sonya retreat, but honestly, like, casual tryhards fell 3 levels behind, and they weren't willing to just say, okay, well, we've lost this game already. They're trying to take the boss, split push objectives as best they can. For the first time this game, knowing that they're a talent tier down, they're actually deciding to trade here, at least for the first half of this, instead of competing with their opponents. I like this decision.
Yeah.
Missing a little bit of Soak, but it seems like they're trying to learn from their mistakes, which is something that we absolutely need to see them do. 4 vs 5s were definitely what set them behind a little bit in this game, and ultimately structurally now, we do see Adrenaline is sitting with all the force down, going to be threatening the keeps here with each of these shots, but a 4 vs 5 rotation coming out here.
Oh man. ETC is going to be a little bit late to the party, level 13 to level 10, but more importantly, casual tryhards can at least take a team fight. Stim drone is online, a lot of damage being down on the Uther, but oh no, the Care team's in a lot of trouble. The medic is trying to do what they can, but the Sundering is going to separate the Lieutenant Morales, but no, he dashes away. He's so very low, but they do turn onto Lieutenant Morales. Care team's going to get away, but had to sacrifice his other healing support in exchange for it. Sonya trying to get a at least a trade onto the Uther, but that's not going to happen, and Lieutenant Morales actually gets chased down by the Thrall, and a full 5-man team wipe for Adrenaline. They get the handful of them. They're going to get the temple. And man, are they in a decisive place to take this game right now, Dreadnaught.
Absolutely. They're just going to be able to apply pressure everywhere else on the map. They're going to take the night camp here, stealing it from their opponents, so there's so little to come back from, using that as a split push tool for the casual tryhards. They threaten the front wall here. Giants pushing on bottom, half the front wall going on bottom keep as well. Keep in mind, actually, none of the keeps, or none of the shrines next rotation are actually going to take a keep here. Unless they take the structures on their own, or a merc camp like Giants on bottom manages to, oh, there we go, the shot's on bottom here. So the next rotation will manage to end up getting the keep on lower half of the map, meaning that's a higher value prioritization for Adrenaline. It looks like there might be a small contention over the Giant camp. Very risky here. Interesting decision making coming out from the Monk as well. Deciding to go with Transcendence at level 1 for the heal, but then speccing into DPS at almost every other talent there. For self-survivability, taking those 1v1 skirmishes, it does help a little bit, but losing a lot of damage potential in his build there.
So we're now at a possibility where we see the just almost insurmountable experience discrepancy. More importantly, being down not only the level 13 talent here, but the level 16 talent as well. I mean, this is just a dominating performance from Edrenaline right now, Dreadnaught. 25 takedowns to 0, 11 minutes in. That is just speaks volumes about how well they have been playing. Casual tryhards, man. They're I hate to say this, but I feel like the first and actually Raynor gets picked off as well. So Raynor's going to be off the map. That sustained damage is no longer there, and this is an opportunity for Adrenaline to further cement their foothold now, inside of the mid game of this match.
Yeah, and I mean, they're about to hit 16-tier advantage. They're down a man. For casual tryhards, you're going to see them look to get this front gate down. The minute that they get 16-tier advantage and the gate goes down, a hard engage. The gorge is going to happen, but prepare for the counter mosh pit here.
It's looking seven-sided strike, but it's not the best, the highest value seven-sided strike. Down goes the Stitches. Sundering on Asonia is going to zone her out, as well as the Cares team overstaying the welcome. Lieutenant Morales and Icy Mike going, you know what, I'm going to join the party too. The Pyroblast is on the way. Can he get to the Nexus? It's going to be close. No, he's going to get knocked away. He does go down. The Pyroblast puts the nail in the coffin for Raynor, and potentially the nail in the coffin for this game, as once again another five-sided decisive team fight for Adrenaline. And yeah, they're going to go for the core here. 31 takedowns to 0, Dreadnaught. This has been an astoundingly impressive performance here by Adrenaline.
Yeah, and even if Adrenaline doesn't kill the core here, it's going to be so low that it almost doesn't matter. There is no mule to respond. They're going to be able to get on the shrines there, capitalize the shrines and confirm the game. There they go. They're going to take it down, and they executed that game really well. Every single time that they had a man advantage on any single objective, they forced as hard as they possibly could, leading to what was it, before level 10, a 2-level experience lead, I believe, over their opponents. Was just absolutely phenomenal play coming out from them. Really well done. Even with the little bit of change in the draft, I still feel like they definitely had the superior draft, and I think they played it very well. Again, Morales on that middle shrine, she was a little bit out of position. All it took was one Sunder. Everybody dove her as hard as they possibly could, and we saw kind of the casual struggle that we see whenever we see a Morales picked, especially that early in the draft. Is she going to be effective? Is she going to be safe? And if the answer is no, proceed to watch this Adrenaline face roll. Even without that experience lead, you saw at that very last team fight, it was actually interesting. D-Shield came out a little bit too late onto that mosh pit, instantly got interrupted by Sonya, but with having a 16-tier advantage, 3 levels over their opponents, and it being a 5 vs 4, it just didn't matter.
Well, the best way to sum it up is a casual struggle for the casual tryhards in the first part of the match, guys. So congratulations to Adrenaline. They take that match in a very decisive manner, guys. Again, this is the Divergent Amateur Series, Divergent Gaming Amateur Series. I am ShaneGoocher. This, of course, is Tempo Dreadnaught, guys. Don't go anywhere. Do you have any final thoughts on that game, Dreadnaught?
Honestly, just taking the smart fight is what a lot of what it came down to, in my opinion. And we didn't see too much out of casual tryhards. I am impressed that they decided to change a little bit of their decision making to try and make a comeback, even though they were so far behind. But at that point, it was just too little, too late, you know. So, but yeah, like you said, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, and we will be right back. We are going to get into the next game here, and thanks for sticking with us.